Hello everyone. Hello. Welcome to Friday night. Crazy times at the Railway Cottage studio. It's 7:30. I've had dinner, had my cup of tea, and I've got a couple of hours down here to play. So I have been working today on my current prompt for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 8, which is this lovely blue and brown Gathered Things quilt. I think last time I saw you, I was working on my swans. Where are you, Swan? Are you in my picture? You are. Here's one swan. There he is, little swan. And I have since done his partner, his mate, and there he is over here, facing in the other direction. And I'm really happy with how they turned out. So this week's prompt was your own embroidery, and I am planning to go and right at the end to put my own embroidered script all over my quilt. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to count that as the prompt for this week. I had a little bit of a play with I've just written in some pencil, favourite doily, favourite fabric, my own embroidery, and granny sheet, just to have a play to see if I liked how that kind of looks. And if you can imagine those written, in a nice, of course, brown text, then I think I'm really happy with the idea that that's how I'll probably finish this one off, with some big chunky writing across the back. So that's for later, but I did start working on my embroidery today. I did decide to do my own, and so I printed these little guys off a royalty-free, Commons, what did I type in? I think I put in vintage embroidery, template free, copyright free. And this is the one that I chose to do. So I love this fan. As I said, there's a beautiful Annette Gero book that Mum has, and there's a really old, beautiful quilt in there, and it's all fans. And as soon as I saw that, I loved it. So I have spent the entire day embroidering this piece. Oh my God, it takes so long. Let me show you what I've done. I'm just going to roll you over till we find my, here's my embroidery. There. So I have embroidered this piece. This is a fan. I've done all my brown and blue flowers, which took me forever today. It's basically been the whole day. I don't love the shape, but the edges will disappear. So just ignore the fact that that shape is there. I did think about going up further in here, but I actually am going to do some stitching over the top of all that at the end. So my last job for this week is to stitch this little guy on. So I'm really happy with how this quilt's going. I've caught up again, which is good news. I've left myself some room with some bits that aren't stitched down to make some decisions as we go. But my job now is to stitch this guy on. So I'm just going to do, some stitching that's, as close a colour as I can get to the background. And this is a piece of vintage fabric. It's not quite dry. Piece of vintage fabric that I had laying around. So I'm just going to see if I can find, that might be quite close, and it's quite fine. And again, another Vinnie's find, really hard to see actually, but that's perfect. So I'm just going to stitch it on, so stay and stitch with me. I am going to be done and caught up, which is exciting. I got a bit behind last week when I was away, and then I'm ready to pull another project out onto my table. So I had all these plans today to get all these things done, and I got my embroidery done. So yeah, that's what happens. I had a bonus day off today. It's a pupil free day, so all day I've been thinking it's Saturday when it's clearly not. I'm just going to roll. And again, this is a way to get your bigger piece to be manageable. Roll yourself in from each edge. Twist myself around here. I don't have a lot of pins still on here, I don't think, if I have any. There might be a couple. And then I have my little blue mat underneath just to save my needles. Hop out of there, little fly guy. You can't be on there. Get off. Oops. I'm trying to rescue you. Come on. Stop it. Shoo. No, that didn't help much, did it? Ow. Don't do that against the needles. That was silly. Okay, so here is my thread. I'm definitely going to need my thimble for this one, and we're just simply going to stitch this on with a bit of quiet stitching. So I did actually start doing, when I started doing this, and again, I'm terrible at embroidery. Terrible. My embroidery is chunky and big fat stitches going in the wrong direction. I'm just embracing it because it is what it is. So initially I started like going around these and I just didn't like it. So I'm hoping, I'm going to leave the fan not filled in at the moment, but if it's up on the wall for a while and I don't like it, I'll probably have to come back and do a little bit more stitching to make that fan a bit more dense, if you know what I mean. So happy Friday, happy Friday. I'm going to stitch in quite close to the actual stitching so that I've got a bit of room to lift and do whatever I want to do as the next 18 or so. How many prompts do we have? I think there's 20 in all, and I think we've had 8. So the next 12 prompts come along. So I've done a really good thing and separated my pins, which are in this one. Let me just check I haven't, with my needles, which are in this little guy that I got from an op shop, and my little scissors fit like in the pointy bit. So it's making my life a lot easier to find things in between threads. So this is a pretty easy job. I'm not going to do any more embellishment yet until I get the next prompt, because I have put a lot on already, as you knew I would. And so the next thing I'm going to get out tonight, I think, is my Home is Where the Heart Is. I've got a few things to stitch on, and then that layer's done, and I'll be ready to make the next video to put the third layer of embellishments, etc. on. I didn't even, oh yeah, I did catch it. And again, these are small stitches. They're not invisible stitches. I'm not trying to be invisible. I'm not invisible. I'm like most visible. It's quite thick, this, plus it's wet because I used a thing I got, where is it from? Spotlight, which you use to trace. You trace over your embroidery design and then you put it on, and then when you wet it, it disappears. Wash and Gone it's called. And then last time I was in Spotlight, that was on special, so I thought, oh, I'll grab a metre of that and see how you use it, having never used it before. And it did, it came off really easily. I literally just popped this little guy under the tap, a running tap for, a minute, and it all disappeared. And I didn't use a hoop, and yet it's fine, it's not loose. I don't mind it a bit loose. Hello, Nova. She's on the prowl for something to chew. So this is just a really simple stitch down job. And it must be nearly time to do a studio tour again, because I've got a lot's happened actually. I've got lots of things going on since my last studio tour, which I think was just after we were flooded. I've rescued most of my things. They've been returned. I mean, this is the beauty of also owning old wooden furniture, is that it's hardwood, and you can get a bit wet and that hardwood just does not bat an eyelid. As long as you dry it out, and all of my fabrics and treasures are up off the ground on shelves and whatever, so I didn't lose any goodies. It just made a hell of a mess and stank. And I had vinyl tiles down, which I will never do again, because getting them up was horrendous after we flooded. But we're just going to paint. So the only thing left to do is to paint my floor. And so my floor is a horrible mishmash of various concrete jobs. But we will paint it. My husband painted the floor in our son's room, which is on the other side of the wall here, who also flooded. And it looks great. Like, it's a proper concrete paint. I think it's actually got a bit of latex in it. Like, it really looks really good. And so that'll be nice just to finish it off for me. So again, this is just a really simple stitch down. And then I will soldier on. I think I've got a good couple of hours in me tonight. I've had my cup of tea and my bit of dark chocolate. I am ready to go. Friday night is wild at Railway Cottage. You know, many years ago, my husband and I used to run pubs, would you believe, in southwest London. My husband is Irish, and we got married in Ireland, and then we went to England for 3 months, which turned into 12 years, and 2 children later, we finally came home to Australia. But yes, I think all of those years of working every Friday night, every Saturday night, every Sunday, every public holiday, and in England, the pubs are open on Christmas Day as well, you know, only for a few hours, but they're open. Made me very happy to spend Friday nights at home for the rest of my life. It was great. We loved every minute of it, but I'm very glad we were out of there before the pandemic hit. It would have been horrendous in that industry. So we came home and gathered up my parents, and we all moved to Bundaberg, and we've loved it here ever since. Had another child here, became a grown-up and got a real job, went back to uni, and my husband is teaching. He teaches hospitality because of our experience, and tourism and business. And I swore to never have anything to do with hospitality ever again, and I have thankfully been able to be true to that vow. Gee, there's a few of these little flying ants around. Go away. I love this brown gingham. Mum bought this and tore me off a bit. Thanks, Mum. Where am I? You can see how much easier it is to use, to work with this when it's rolled. Because you need to be able to access all the sides. So I'm going to leave this on the wall and have a look at it, and just see if I'm happy with the subtlety, is the word I'm going to use, of the outline of the fan, or whether I actually need to go back and fill it in. The quilt that I was talking about, the fan blades of it are fabric, are different types of fabric, and it's fabulous, but I kind of forgot about that as I was going. I was very focused, so I'm not going to do that. But that quilt is in the back of my mind one day to make. Only there were more hours in the day. Okay, this is going on really nicely. This is beautiful fabric to work with, and I'm only going through one layer, so it's super easy, she says, as her needle falls off. Dismissed. It's so quiet. It's so nice. My eldest son is camping. I don't even think about it. He's shark fishing at night on a kayak, so let's not think about that too much. Yeah, okay. So anyway, that's what he's doing tonight. So I'll be sending a random text later just to check I get one back. That's what you do when you're 21 and you live in regional Queensland, where you can go and do all these fabulous things. And the ocean's beautiful at the moment. I think it's about 28 degrees. There we go. So again, I'm not going up. I think I'm on the table now. I'm not going near, I'm not sewing this around the edge, you know, and that gives me scope to, I can actually cut that edge further in if I want to, or put something under it. More than likely, I think I will actually cover this edge the other way, put things over it, because I don't like it very much. It's not working for me at the moment. But also, sometimes when it's been on the wall for a little while, I get over that. It's just an initial. Geez, do I have exactly the right amount of thread? That would be nice. Aren't friction pens good? They're so good. All those pens we spent so much money on, so they disappear, and they never did. I used a blue, you know, one of these pens that was supposed to disappear with water to mark the back of Menagerie when I was quilting it, and it didn't come off. It was horrendous. I had to spend so much time trying to get those lines off before I sent it to the quilt show. I was mortified, but there's still some shadow lines there that I know are there and can see. So I would never use one of those again. Let me just tie this in a knot because it fell off. There we go. So that is my home, not home, is where the heart is. That is my beautiful Gathered Things quilt, ready to be hit with the next prompt. So if you want to hang on a minute, I might put it on the wall. You can see that I don't like the shape of that. Let's zoom you out. I'll just take you for a little squeeze. So you can see it's pretty evenly done with regard to, I'm just going to push you up a bit, hold tight. That's better. I've pretty much evenly, whenever there's been a new prompt, I've pretty much evenly put the prompt over the quilt. So that's the top. I'm just going to go straight down. There's my swan. I've got my beautiful doily Suffolk puffs. There's one there. Lots and lots of hexagons made out of vintage fabrics. Some more beautiful vintage fabrics. This one's not pinned on, it's the only one, and I think because it's just so holey and see-through that something will need to go under it. It'll be one of the last things. That's that side. Let me see if I can roll you up. You can see the other side. Ow. And you know there's one pin and it always gets me. Okay, this is the other side. Do I need one more roll? Yes. You can see this is my last flag, last Mariner's flag that I had for Nautica, the blue and white. I love how it's all hand done. Look, and dodgy. I imagine some guy sitting out on a boat in the middle of the ocean doing that. My swan friend, my second swan. This is my own embroidery, my own version of very bad embroidery, but I like it. It's chunky. My little rabbit. This beautiful rose that I love. Some more Suffolk puffs. And what's that pinned for? Don't know. Get rid of that pin. Beautiful. I'm going to go and pin that on the wall and consider it overnight. So thanks so much for popping in. I really appreciate all the lovely new subbies and all the people that are hanging out with me. It's so nice to be down here and chatting away and imagining you in your room somewhere sewing along with me. So thank you, and I'll see you soon.